I've stayed away from this topic, but I'm going to talk. I have to talk about it in the sense of a lot of people are asking, was it Brady? The success in New England. Was it Brady or was it Bill Belichick? Was it the great coaching of Bill Belichick or was it the greatness of Brady? And we're seeing now the success that Tampa Bay is having with Brady and the lack of success that Bill Belichick is having as with the Patriots. And Bill Belichick came out, I believe, yesterday, saying, due to the salary cap, that's affected our team. That's the reason why our team is struggling. And I feel that one thing can be true and one thing cannot be true. And that is, I feel Tom Brady would not be as successful as he was in his career if it wasn't for Bill Belichick, if it wasn't for the organization of the Patriots, if it wasn't for some of the moves that the Patriots made on behalf of Tom Brady. I don't think that they would be as successful. I don't think Tom Brady's career would look the way it looked if it wasn't for some of the Patriots. On the flip side, I don't think we would even consider the Patriots a dynasty if it wasn't for the greatness of Tom Brady. I think if Tom Brady was not the quarterback, we wouldn't see there wouldn't be a Patriots dynasty. And why am I saying that? Where am I getting that from? Right? Because what we're seeing Cam Newton's a great quarterback. Cam Newton is athletic. He's probably one of the most athletic quarterbacks we've ever seen. And we're starting to see Cam Newton, as great as Cam Newton is, we're starting to see that his greatness might not supersede the lack of talent that's around him. And for years we've been saying, Tom Brady needs help. Tom Brady needs help. I mean, yeah, he's had Gronk. Yeah, he's had Julian Edelman. Yeah, he's had the Wes Welker. Yeah, he had a couple seasons with Randy Moss. But outside of those few, Tom Brady really hasn't had offensive pieces. And I actually put that solely on Bill Belichick and the organization. Bill Belichick has never drafted well when it comes to wide receiver talent. Even though he's had Tom Brady, he still struggled with drafting wide receivers. And I'm saying all this to say what we saw on Sunday with the Patriots losing to the Buffalo Bills 21-24. Cam was playing as good as Cam can play until the end when he fumbled the ball. Yes, Cam Newton fumbling the ball was on Cam. You have to be more aware of that. I solely believe even if they would not, they were marching down the field. I think they were on like the 20-yard line. So even if they didn't make it, they would at least got a field goal. So what we're starting to see is how we're starting to see the lack of pieces around the Patriots. And we're starting to see, it's so easy when you have a blanket like Tom Brady that can cover a lot of deficiencies that the team has. But now that you don't have that blanket, and don't get me wrong, again, Cam Newton is a great quarterback, but he's not on the same level as Tom Brady. So when you don't have that blanket anymore, you're really, your blemishes start to show a lot brighter than they do with a good blanket like Tom Brady. On the flip side, again, I'm not saying Tom Brady, I'll say this. I'm not saying that the Patriots organization is only good because of Tom Brady, but Tom Brady helped the organization a lot. And Tom Brady was the reason for a lot of those wins. Not saying, again, I'm not saying that the Patriots would be complete trash if it wasn't for Tom Brady, but there would not be a dynasty if it wasn't for Tom Brady. And we're starting to see, because even with a good quarterback as Cam Newton, he's not able to blanket the lack of talent that is surrounding him. Now, I will say this. It does. I never thought I'd see the day where I'd feel bad for the Patriots, but I kind of do. You know, you have the most players in the NFL on your team opt out due to COVID. Your starting quarterback, Cam Newton, gets COVID. Stephon Gilmore gets COVID. You go, I think, in a 3 or 4 week span, you only have 3 practices, which is unheard of. And it's not just 3 practices. You close down the facility due to due to your players getting COVID. And Cam Newton, as quiet as it's kept, Cam Newton has not played well since coming back from having COVID. So this team is just getting hit after hit after hit after hit. So do I think that? Let me say this. I think Sunday's loss against the Bills was huge, seeing as though it's a divisional opponent, seeing as though they've lost 3 straight now, they're 2-5, seeing as though there's already been questions now, even though Cam Newton has played incredible the beginning of the year, starting to question, is this Cam Newton Bill Belichick marriage working? It's a lot of questions circling the Patriots. Rightfully so, because again, they've lost 3 straight, and we're not used to seeing a Patriots team lose 3 straight. That's just not what we're used to seeing. But I will say this: do I think that this can get better for the Patriots? No. And I said earlier, I said that later on in the show, I'm going to talk about teams that should be really aggressive in the trade deadline. And I don't put the Patriots in that top 5, and here's the reason why. The reason I didn't put them in is because they don't really have trade assets. They want to keep their picks because, we know how important picks are to the Patriots. They want to keep their picks, and outside of Cam Newton and Stephon Gilmore, they don't have any desirable pieces. Nobody wants to kill Harry. Nobody wants. I don't think the McCourty brothers are going anywhere. Nobody wants any of these players. So while I do think that they should be a contender or a player when it comes to these trade deadline, or when it comes to trade deadline, I don't think they even have the opportunity to, seeing as though they don't have any pieces to even get in the pool of trading outside of Stephon Gilmore and Cam Newton. But you really aren't going to get anything for Cam Newton because he's only on a 1-year deal minimum. So, to answer the monologue that I came here with, or that I started this with, I think both sides, as far as the Patriots and Tom Brady, I think they both needed each other. I think that Tom Brady needed the structure and needed the organization that is the Patriots. And I think that the Patriots needed a transcendent player like Tom Brady.